G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright, people, have a quick look on screen. Look at that picture right there. Now, that was doing the rounds this morning. I seen it on Elements. Elements is a website, a bit like Discord. You can have groups of people, groups of chats, several different groups. They're not as strict as Discord would be in terms of what you can and cannot say. And I seen this pic going around a few times. I seen Hatman do a video on it. I wanted to find a little bit more about this pic of Billy Joe and see was it legit. Now, the one I seen on Elements was taken from a YouTube channel called Tyson Fury Fans. Literally, you typed it into YouTube, filter it for channels, and I think they have about 9,000 subs. You go to their community tab, and there you see it right there. Billy Joe Saunders looking well. I mean, you know, I've never seen Billy Joe looking that. And obviously we can't see his full body, only seeing his face. But if your face is looking that big, chances are the rest of you is likewise. It's going to be, massive. So he doesn't look, judging by that pic, that he's going to be in any shape to fight Chris Eubank Jr. anytime soon. That he's going to be making a comeback to boxing anytime soon. And I'm not surprised in that regard that Billy Joe has ballooned up in weight. Judging by that pic, he's got to be in the 200s. Now, I believe the heaviest Billy Joe ever got to, in terms of, outside of a fight, was in 2016. Some of you may remember in 2016. Well, he won his world title from Andy Lee at middleweight in December 2015. And then he was actually meant to fight on the Canelo Liam Smith card in Texas. That was in September of 2016. I think he was meant to fight Gabe Rosado or Willie Monroe. It was one or the other. And cut a long story short, Billy Joe Saunders couldn't fight on that card. Basically, he was overweight. And it wasn't just that he was overweight by, say 20 pounds. I mean, the guy, I think by his own admission, he even said he went north of 16 stone, which my stone to pounds ratio as a calculator is never amazing if I have to do it offhand. I think 15 stone is around about 210 pounds. So it's 14 pounds in a stone. So you'd be talking in around the 220s. And obviously there was that famous footage, well, it was actually an image of Billy Joe Saunders running topless and looking huge. Just looking, the man tits are out, the big protruding belly. That's probably the heaviest he's ever been, but I reckon he's, if not close to it, probably gone past it in this one. Now, obviously, at this stage, Billy Joe has no fights lined up or anything like that. I don't even think... I'd be very surprised if we see Billy Joe back in the ring anytime soon, if indeed ever. Eubank Jr. can call and say, he wants to fight Billy Joe, and Billy Joe will always respond to him on Twitter and say, X, Y, and Z. But in terms of Billy Joe even having comeback fights, anything like that, I'd say chances are quite low that that's going to happen. And Billy Joe, the motivation for Billy Joe seemed to really wane after he won his world title. He was happy. I think he was nearly stripped at one point because he was meant to fight. He had winning the world title and then not fighting until September is about 9 months, give or take. Gosh, in around that. Yeah, it would have been in around 9 months, give or take. And then to not have that fight, not go through with it, and then have to fight in December a year after. He was kind of touch and go to the BBO at that stage. And obviously his performance against Akimov that night looked terrible because he was cutting so much weight. He was so heavy that the weight cut was compromised, obviously, because he wasn't getting rid of it. He was getting rid of more fat than anything else. And then obviously you fast forward a year later, he fought David Lemieux. Now that was a fight that he was fired up for, but he got over a little over $1 million for that Lemieux fight. And from then on, you really saw the motivation just wane from Billy Joe Saunders. You really did, because he'd made his 7 figures. That was him happy as Larry, happy as a pig in shite. And all he wanted at that point was the big money fights. So he wanted the Triple Gs. He wanted the Canelo. That's one of the reasons why he went to Matchroom, because it seemed more likely he'd get the bigger fights there. He gets the Canelo fight. What was it, 6-7 million he got for it? So 6 times more than he got for the Lemieux fight. Yeah, he gave it his all. And he tried until, what happened. But for me, it was a case of that was watching it and seeing what happened, I was like, he's going to put on. I didn't think he put this much weight on, but I'd be surprised if we see Billy Joe again, because the motivation was kind of waning long before the Canelo fight. Billy Joe wanted to get fat, eat, drink, go on lads' holidays. And then after the Canelo fight, he was given, like, you could go on lads' holidays every month for the rest of your life and still live comfortably. You know, it's a way you've got the bag. A part of me does kind of, well, not now, but at the time after the Canelo fight, a part of me was kind of like, I wouldn't mind seeing Billy Joe back, because I probably enjoy watching Billy Joe more than the average fan. I don't know why. I honestly got, like, something about Billy Joe's personality kind of just stuck with us. Obviously he's done a lot of things I don't agree with. You know, that crackhead thing with Kid Galahad was way out of order. But I don't know, something about Billy Joe just kind of stuck with me, so I never really minded watching him, to be honest with you. I watched a lot of Billy Joe's fights. I kind of would have liked to have seen him maybe just make a run and try and get a Eubank Jr. rematch, and just that would be that. That's the exclamation mark. But given the fact he's so... And again, like, I'm not saying for definite that this is legit Billy Joe. Like, that picture, how do we not know someone took it? Because you can do, what are they called, fat boots or something like that, where you take a picture of someone and you can overinflate it. So, like, you can make anyone look real fat, like, in the face. So maybe something like that did happen. But if that is for definite Billy Joe in that picture, and he is looking as overweight as he is, I don't think he's coming back. And if he does come back, no way in hell is he going to fight a Eubank or anyone like that, because, you know, having to take all that weight off, you know, that is where you start your training camp. You're not going to start. This is why I always say, like, it irritates me. It doesn't matter if it's big, it could be anyone. That's why I admire Canelo for doing this. When you have these fighters who, the minute they finish a camp, or the minute they finish a fight, right, they go and they put 20, 30 pounds on. We're not in camp anymore. We can eat. We can do what we want. Well, yeah, when you come to camp, right, say you're doing an 8-week camp, the first 2 weeks of that camp are just getting the excess fat off. So you really only have a 6-week camp if you think about it in that regard, because you're just trying to get as much fat off them as you can so you can make weight somewhat reasonably. Whereas if you come into camp, you know, I'm not saying Canelo Alvarez is walking around at his ideal fight weight outside of camp, but I'd say he's no more than, 5 pounds, maybe a little bit more. So literally he can go in and he can do normal boxing training, the weight will come off naturally. You know, what other fighters, I say, should do, because it baffles me. And, you know, not every fighter can be like a Roberto Duran and get away with that. Or, you know, James Toney, especially in his prime. They did that. They ballooned up in weight. They're different. They're legends of the game. Like, they are tremendous fighters, you know. And even then, it had impacts on, like, Duran, and it had impacts on James Toney as well. They couldn't get away with it forever. But your average fighter like Billy Joe Saunders, a good fighter, but not their level, man, that's going to rear up and bite him if he comes back, gaining so much weight. That's going to bite him right in the arse, seriously. But look, I just said I'd talk about it. Before I go, watch along tonight. I've got the cranberry juice in the fridge, ready to go. 9 bells, we'll watch Lee Wood versus Michael Conlon, the live watch along. I'd hope you want to join your boy, because the live watch alongs are fun. They are fun, especially when there's a bit of controversy. And I'm going to sell it like a boss. Because I'll be watching this on the Zone, and I'm pretty sure I can get the Zone on the TV. I can just probably download the app on the TV. Because I'll have it on the TV, because I'll be watching it close to it live, it'll mean that I'll spare you a lot of poor commentary if you want to watch your boy commentate. Because God knows I can do a better job than Costello. Yes, they're out of the gate, and yes, they're fighting. He's like a horse racing commentator. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Live watching along 9 o'clock tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you think the picture is real, or if you think potentially it's been photoshopped. I will say as well, there was another pic that I seen of Billy Joe Saunders. He might have been at an Arsenal game, or it was at... I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll pop it in at the end of this. I'll pop it in now if I can find it. Now, he's wearing what looks like a big jacket, but for me, he looks overweight in that as well. It looks overweight in that as well. So I'd say Billy Joe is quite a bit away from his ideal fight weight. Let's leave it at that. But for now, lads and lassies, I'll leave you with that. Smash the like button if you can. I'll chat to you at 9. Peace.